Hi, welcome to another video. So today we're going to talk a bit about landing pages and how to buff up the design of a landing page. Now, especially if you're running an agency or anything that offers design services, it's really, really important for you to have a really kick-ass landing page. The reality is that a lot of people are extremely visual, and when they see something nice, they tend to want to buy it. That's literally the reason most people make decisions, because the decision-making process is a very emotional one, and a lot of people are very influenced by their emotions. So it's imperative that if you want to have a web presence, that you have a nice design. And the key to this video, and the reason why I'm here, is to tell you something very important, and that a nice design isn't that complicated to try to create. It's actually a fairly straightforward process. And there's just 6 key things I've identified that you should do. And there's 6 key things that we can learn from this amazing website created by Design Joy, Brad Williams, owner of Design Joy Agency. Phenomenal website, phenomenal, absolutely incredible. When you look at it, you just feel really, really happy, really calm, really warm. It just gives you a warm feeling. And the person that made this website is a person that who's a designer that you can really, really trust. So let's take a look at the 6 things that I've identified that Design Joy has. The first thing is this animation coming in on load, which is as you scroll down, you can start to see the things coming in. And I'm actually going to show you how to recreate most of these features later. And that's the first thing that you see. A lot of this, when you load the website, the things come in. There's some animation about the way that things come in. So that's the first thing. It really gives it like a really nice feeling. Now, the other thing is that when you scroll down, there's this animation of things scrolling left, right? You can see this is his portfolio, and when you scroll up, it scrolls right. And then and then this latest projects thing, it's like it starts spinning and stuff like that as you scroll as well. So you can't actually scroll this yourself. It's more like as you scroll, then these elements scroll. So I think that's also a really, really cool effect. The other thing that he has in his website a lot is a lot of these SVGs, things like this heart shape here, this SVG, this custom SVG that he has, stuff here, here, here. They really add to the website, add to the novel feeling that it gives the website. Really helps to add to the inspiration that people who or the emotions that come out when you look at this page. The next thing that you have, and this is a fairly simple one to add in, but it's a very subtle feature that you may not realize at first when you first see this page, but it's absolutely critical, and it's probably the easiest one to add to any website you have. And that is that he has textures. So what do I mean by that? If you actually zoom in, this is not beige color, right? If you actually inspect it, you can actually see that there is a background image here, and you can see that it's a kind of noise image, really, and it just keeps repeating over and over again. And I'll actually show you how to replicate this later, but to be honest, you could just download this image and then just add it as a background, but you need to set the CSS property properly. But yeah, it basically just enhances the background of the website a little bit, and it's something that you can add to almost any site, and you can instantly improve the website that you're looking at. So the next thing that he has, which might be a little bit technically challenging, is this rotating bar here. So it's also something very interesting and really adds to any website, especially if you're trying to feature a list of brands that you work with like he has. And the final thing that he has, the 6th thing, is this Lottie animations, right? Or these animations. So how do you actually create these animations, or how do you get animations like this fairly easily, right? So these are the 6 key elements that he has. Now, I've actually gone ahead and implemented some of them, and I've actually copied a lot of it from his website. So when you reload, you can also see that I have the animations coming in on load. And as I scroll down, I have this scrolling feature here, and this is also scrolling as well. I think maybe it's scrolling a bit too much. And I also have the rotating bar here. I have some SVGs. This is mostly him. And the animations that I have is slightly different ones than the ones he has, but they're basically also from the same technology. So these are like the 6 key features that you should be aiming to have in any website that you create, or like, and also the textures as well, right? So that this will really buff up the design. So I'll actually show you how I did it, and let's just go straight to the code. Right. So ooh, hang on a second. Okay. Name has changed. Nice. So for my code, I use like React Redux, and you can use any kind of application that you want, any kind of technology that you like. So what I did was for my version of the website, the source code is a lot. Well, his website is built using Webflow, and what I did was I tried to reproduce it using just code, right? So I added one extra thing here, but I don't think it fits too well. I may remove it. Basically, as you hover, there will be that scrambling of words to before you get the final word final header here. But it may not actually fit that well. Okay, but anyways, so what I did is that I used my core folder as this app.js folder, and there are a few things, but I think we just focus on handle scroll. So what happens in this handle scroll is that we have a it tracks the scroll top. So as you're scrolling, it tracks the scroll top here. So that's why you have this function handle scroll, right? So you just get the app container dot scroll top, and you just get the app container by using document dot get element by ID. And we can see here that that is just this div effectively, right? So the app container will always be there. And if it's not, you can just do an if app container, something like this. If like this, and then you can just ensure that this will never be an error. Then what it does is uses this reducer to set the portfolio scroll left in the key Redux store. And what that does is that let me just check it. Okay, so scroll portfolio. And what it does is it in the scroll left component. So this is really all the code for this component here that you see, this entire thing here. And it transforms the translate X of it by the scroll left. So what happens is as you scroll down, you're setting the scroll left using Redux. So if you go to the store here, you can see the scroll portfolio, scroll left property initially is 0, but it's set using this reducer within app.js as there's a scroll, as the div is being scrolled, and it sets it to whatever's submitted in the payload. So what happens then is that this gets changed, and in the corresponding scroll portfolio, it retrieves that value, and it rotates by a factor of whatever you see here, right? In fact, I'll just say remove comments. And what I'll do is I will actually start it right now, and yeah, I'm actually gonna make some edits, like maybe slow down the speed of things. So just give me 1 second. All right. Okay, but in the meantime, I think what I'm trying to do here is just reduce the scroll left. So maybe instead of divide by 10, I can divide by 20, because you can see that it was shifting, it's really rotating a lot, right? And maybe we don't need to rotate it by that much, even maybe 30, right? And you can see it's recompiling. Yeah, you can see now, okay, it's a lot slower, and maybe it's like kind of the pace that we want. And now I can just remove comments and slow down speed of rotation and push it. And you can see that, okay, it's rotating a lot more slowly now. So that's the first thing, which is animation scroll left on downward scroll. React Redux enables us to do this in a very predictable way, which is basically as you scroll left, you set that property, and the property is consistently being read by these components here. Right. The second thing is, how do we do this CSS property, whereby we have the things fly in or fade in, and it's basically a CSS property that you set. So you can see here that we have these keyframes called fade in from bottom and fade in from left. But some person calling me. But anyways, fade in from left and fade in from right, and move left, move right. But basically the fade in from left and fade in from bottom, these are basically what happens. So at 0% opacity 0, 100% opacity 1, and translate Y is like, oh, it's 50px to the left or right, and then you just add zero at 100% zero. So what happens is you just Google search in the document, sorry, you can see that for certain elements, like the hero section image, hero section text container, basically, if I go to this component here and I see hero section text container, so okay, so this one is a design agency with a twist, right? So you can see what happens here is like it fades in from the bottom, right? So it has fade in from bottom, so it just has that animation called fade in from bottom, and you set a timing to 0.8 seconds. And fade in from bottom is basically the animation that we've defined here. So opacity 0, translate Y 50px or 50px below, and then at 100% it's at 0. So that's basically how we did that. So for the SVGs, all I did was I went to his website, downloaded the SVGs and used them. Now, what you should probably do is you can maybe create your own SVGs, find other SVGs that you like that are really nice, and or maybe you just buy the SVG pack from his Gumroad, and if you want to use them, you can. Probably don't copy his design, it's kind of classless, like what I did. The other thing you want to do is just the textures. So for the textures, actually all I did was I used background image and I just copied the exact CSS property from there. But what you can do is just basically maybe download it and you can use it yourself. I'm not going to open it right now, but basically the idea is like all you have to do is just put the background image URL in here, and then after that set the linear gradient that you want to use, and you can just copy what he has, or you can choose your own colors as well. So it's fairly straightforward to do the textures effect. Right. So we're done with 4 of the 6. So the next thing is a rotating bar. Now this one's a little bit more tricky. How do you do it? Initially, I was a little bit puzzled, but in effect, what you have to do with the rotating bar is this brand scroller, and you see the HTML code is extremely simple. Basically, you duplicate the brand scroller. It's got to be absolutely identical. So we're importing the SVGs of each of the brands, which are basically the images you see here. And then one is margin left 100%, which is like completely out of the screen, and the other one just starts at 0. So what happens is we have some CSS for it, and what happens is we have the brand scroller container, which also has the fade in from bottom, and this is where the background color, everything is set. And what the brand scroller does is that we have this animation called move left right that goes on for 10 seconds linearly and infinitely. Right, so linear means that it doesn't slow down this property. So like it's not like slowing at the start and slowing at the end, but it just goes in one constant time, and it runs infinitely throughout the website. And the position is absolute with 100%. So when it's margin left 100%, the position as absolute is important so that the two divs can stay in the positions they are and not be affected based on the margin left. So display flex direction row is more to ensure that this the elements within are in a row, and space evenly is how they are spaced in a row. Right. So anyways, animation move left, right? Okay, so let's take a look at that. So it goes on, takes about 10 seconds for this animation to finish, and it's linear, so it's the speed's always the same, and it runs infinitely. So what happens at 0%? Very simple. It goes from it shifts from 0% to negative 100%. And that's really it, right? And move right left is never actually used. So I don't know why I made it. But anyways, move left right. So that's basically what happens, and that's actually how this thing goes. So the final thing is this very nice animations, SVG animation that he has. Okay, and how do you actually do it? Now, what we do is I can go and inspect the source code, and you can see here that he's using some kind of JSON file, right? So what kind of technology is this? And you can see here the animation type is Lottie. So anyways, I did a bit of Googling, and basically you get the animations from Lottie Animations. So basically you come here and you can find animations that you like. Cool, for example, I don't know, doesn't really matter. Just download any one of this. What you should do, is you can just download the Lottie JSON, And okay, let's take a look. What happens is it's really straightforward, right? So this is actually all the code that you have for each of these animations. For this thing, subscribe to a plan, you can see in here, it's just this, just insert this OT animation right here. So the style is where you set how big the animation will be. If not, it's just going to be very small or whatever size the animation is. But you can actually set it to a fixed size. So each one of these is 150 px in height, and it'll scale the width accordingly. So what you have to do is you have to install this library called Lottie React, and you import Lottie from it, right? So Lottie is like this object that you use, or this component that you use, and then you pass in the animation data, which is basically the JSON that you're going to download from Lottie files. And then you just put loop equals to true, style height equals 150 px, and there you will have these Lottie animations that you like. So those are in effect the 6 core things that you will need in any website that you want to create. If you want to have a look and feel design similar to DesignJoy. And you can do it without Webflow, you can do it with code like React Redux. The link to the website will be in the description below, as well as to the GitHub repository that hosts this website. So the advantage of really coding it up yourself is you have more power and control over very advanced animations. So you want to add stuff like the scrambling text that I showed, but it's not really a component within DesignJoy. It's just an effect that you can also add yourself. But anyways, it's been a pretty long video, not super long, but that's it for today. Thank you so much. Have a good day and catch you all next time. Bye.